Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we ran some intel, and we're going to keep running intel, but between episodes, I ended up actually using the skill point I forgot to put in. Just gave me more health. Put another attribute point into warfare, just to get us a little higher. Want to hit 25 for the beast lore bonus against elites and bosses. We should be able to get that realistically. Actually, we might not, because that's only like 4 points. We'll have to probably take out a 1 out of toughness. I don't want to take any more out. Might take 1 out of virtue. I don't really care about the virtue stat. I actually can't decrease it any further. So I'm going to have to probably look for heroic deeds to do if I really care about that. Kill 50 chaos engine enemies at level 50 or higher. Yeah, that'll be easy. I actually have to care about using a shield. That'll be a thing. Kill bosses. Use a booster type inoculator. Take warp damage. Executing will be difficult because you have to randomly roll it. Priority assignments, I could do that whenever. And then rebel engine type elites, almost got that done. And that's another couple points. So that is doable. But we also got the first level seasonal stuff done. I just had to modify my inoculator and my appearance. So we got a little commendation we can put over here. Ooh. But we also got the first shard for this season, the Judgment Shard. The vulnerability effectiveness, that could be really good. And in weapons, just a chance to cause generic vulnerability. I might just put that in non-armor, non-weapon spots, because I don't want to give up a perfectly good slot that I could use a Solemn Code or better shards. Because that vulnerability, that's very specific. But it's still good. But yeah, other than that, we got some gear. I chewed through it. Nothing was special. Nothing was worthwhile, I should say. But let's just jump into more intel. That's a lot of effects. I'm gonna add more. Now, as the title of this video suggests, we have something interesting to talk about. It has recently come out. It's not entirely confirmed, but I think it's pretty well confirmed at this point, if we're going to be real. Walmart is looking at no longer carrying physical copies of video games sometime 2024. Best Buy is talking about no longer carrying Blu-rays or DVDs come potentially the beginning of 2024. So the obvious question here, and kind of question and doubles as a statement, is physical media dying? We're currently sitting on a lot of things saying, yeah, it looks like it's on the way out. But I'm also starting to see people wake up to the idea. People are sitting here realizing, oh, some musicians' music isn't on Spotify anymore. It's not on Pandora or whatever people use, but they still want to listen to the music. We see this with shows on streaming services. Hell, here on YouTube, every single YouTuber who gets a VPN sponsorship, they always say the same thing. I wanted to watch insert show here on insert streaming platform here, but they didn't have it, so I switched my location to insert location here, and now I can watch insert show here. It's the same thing. Where, if you had a physical copy, yeah, it sucks you have to pay like 20, 30, 40 bucks for a season of whatever. You really like Golden Girls, so you get a season of it. But you always have that season. If your internet goes out, you still got the season. You know, if you move, if anything happens, the show is no longer supported on this network or whatever, you still got that DVD. Without it, that show is essentially gone. And the same thing for games. The only company, not sponsored, but the only company that actually does it well is GOG. Because they have DRM-free versions of games, so if you want, you can buy whatever game is on there and put it on a flash drive, put it on a CD, DVD, whatever, and you have that copy forever. For whatever reason, if you need to move it to a new computer, you lose your login information, whatever, you still have the game. And that's a big deal, because by shifting away from physical copies, you can kill a game very easily. And you never have to support it, and we've seen this with like GTA 5 and GTA 4 and whatnot. The licensing for those songs runs out. That's why the games will patch and those songs will go away. But if you have a CD, a disc with the game on it, you have a 1.0 version that has all that stuff on it. Yeah, it may be a bit buggy, but you can still play the game, even without an internet connection. But losing that is actually a big deal. And it also kills the secondhand market. It kills, like, stores like GameStop. Say what you will about GameStop, I've said my piece about them. Not a big fan. Their business model is screwed. They're only alive at this point because of a meme. But I think, as a company, they deserve to exist. The secondhand market is a thing and should remain a thing. Because we've all had games that you get it and you're hyped for it, and then it sucks and you're like, I wish I could at least like recoup some of my losses. Because there's a reason these return policies on like Steam are 2 hours. Because that's how they get you. This way, if you play a little bit, or it takes forever to run, or whatever, and they can get 2 hours and 1 minute, they can go, nah, you spent too long. You should have known it was crap within the first 2 hours. This is your fault. Because they don't want to actually process that. That's money. You could ask to exsanguinate their staff, and these companies would be like, yeah, go for it, bleed them dry, we don't care. But touch our money, we're going to have a problem. You can drain the life force out of everybody in the corporate building, but no, you can't ask for $29.99 back. Are you insane? That's gonna send the whole company into free fall. That kind of sucks. So does that. So does that, sadly. Oh well. But losing physical media, it's a big deal. You have guys like Mudahar with his channel Some Ordinary Gamers, he covers it. And he champions for having physical copies, and I don't see a problem with physical copies. I know people made a big deal about the next Final Fantasy VII part is going to be 2 discs, and everybody was losing their mind. And the thing there is, realistically, I've said it before, high-resolution textures bloat games. That's the reason these games are so large and it has to be 2 discs, is it's all high-res. If you got rid of that, these games would still all fit on a disc, no problem. And it's a big problem having to download these things if you have certain, like, internet packages, where you have a certain amount for downloads. And that's rough, because, like, for example, the COD Modern Warfare 3 beta, 100 gigs. If you have infinite downloads and all that, sure, who cares? But if you don't, that's a lot. Especially for a beta that's only going to last a couple weekends. Or you look at the rumors that GTA 6 might be up to 700 gigs. Which, even if it's half that size, that's a lot. And you gotta think about just general internet traffic and your network infrastructure just for downloads. That's a lot. I think it'd be easier to just offer a texture pack as an option, have a normal 1080p graphics on the disc, and do that, because I can guarantee, even if GTA 6 is 350 gigabytes, they don't have 350 gigabytes of content. No one does. And it's just unfortunate, because it, like I said, the secondhand market's great. Lets you pick up some games dirt cheap, games that realistically not a lot of copies were made or sold. Sometimes you can find them. I remember when I was younger, hanging out with a friend of mine, we would go to GameStop and we got like Dynasty Warriors Gundam 1 and 2 a couple years apart. But I'd never seen those games in a store. But there were used copies available. I didn't know where they came from. All I knew is they were there. And all digital, I genuinely think it will hurt the indie side of things far more than people believe. Because, like I have said in the past, there have been interviews with indie devs who've said, yeah, we release our game on Steam, and it gets swept out with the tide, and no one knows our game came out. And we make little to no money, and if you're lucky, it gets picked up by a YouTuber later on, potentially years in advance, or years down the line, when you've already moved on. Or your studio's closed because you didn't make the money to recoup your losses. And if you're going to try to do that now with big games as well, then you're just shoving everyone into these storefronts that are already terribly laid out, that are either just completely uncurated and bloated with garbage, or they're so heavily curated and algorithm run that games that might be a little different or might not fall into certain setups end up just getting ignored because the algorithm just doesn't grab them. Either way, it's not good. I don't want to sit here and be a doomsayer and be like, oh, everything's screwed, we're all gonna collapse and die, but there is an understanding that this is bad. This doesn't help consumers. This was a decision made to make more money for investors. Because, like I said, secondhand games, you can't sell a game that sucks. I can buy a game that's terrible with a disc, beat it, and then go sell it in a day and still get most of my money back. Or I could buy a digital copy, 2 hours are up, and I'm locked in. And what I do think, too, is I think it will actually lead to a rise in piracy. Because if you don't know anything about piracy, people will crack games. How? I don't fully know. I'm not that kind of technical person. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. Now, some you can actually still play online, some you can't due to certain verification things, but people will crack games. Or they'll just set up their own private servers and they play even with illegally gotten software. But at least when you're selling discs, that's at least a guaranteed sale. If it's all stuff that can get cracked, yeah, you're gonna have people who just go, I can't buy a physical copy, so whatever. I'm gonna go on to wherever and download it. It's gonna be a problem. First and foremost, I think it'll be a problem. And I don't think there's gonna be any good solution. I think over time, we might see kind of a backslide to discs. Because they do a good job. And I genuinely think the secondhand market's size is overstated. Because I remember back Battlefield 3, I think? Late 2000s, early 2010s, there was a push. EA did it, of course. Oh, it was with Medal of Honor, I think. Medal of Honor Warfighter, I want to say it was, where you had to, if you bought a used copy, you had to then spend like $5 or $10 for a online license to play multiplayer. It lasted about as long as it took for me to say that sentence. Because tons of people just said, I'm not playing online, screw it, and EA went, oh, we're not getting money out of people, okay, let's just scrap this whole idea. And that's the big thing. I don't think people sell their games as much as these companies like to think they do. Like, I keep all my games. Even the worst ones, I still keep. Not because I'm some weirdo who's like, I'm gonna sell this in 15 years and the price is gonna quadruple and it'll be worth tons of money. Nah, they're my games. Good, bad, in between, they're mine. So why would I get rid of them? I get if I didn't have space. Sure, that's understandable. In Japan, physical copies are really big. Partially, I think, because space is a premium, so buy them, play them, flip it for whatever money to get something else. That seems to be generally how a lot of stuff works in Japan. Here, doesn't really make sense to be like, oh, well, there's people don't have a lot of space in their homes. I think people do. It's just a greedy tactic, unfortunately. And hopefully Best Buy, Walmart, whoever else has this idea, they stop and go, oh, damn, we probably should just carry this stuff. Because honestly, even though the DVD section of Best Buy isn't that big anymore, I don't know what they're going to put in there. It's not like there's a lot of stuff you can put in. What, more refrigerators? At a certain point, you're kind of spoiled for choice, and it's a refrigerator. It's not like there's a ton of unique models. Same thing with Walmart. Like, okay, so you knock out your physical games section. What's going there? It's also kind of a kick in the nuts if you're buying a console to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy a game and then my system, and then you buy your system and you're like, oh yeah, they don't have anything. I gotta go download stuff. Not to mention, some people have bad internet. I've seen guys who are like, oh yeah, this game is gonna take me like 3 days to download. Some people just got bad connections. Some people live in the sticks. Not everybody gets fiber. I don't. I wish I did. I think I still get like copper cables. I got hoed. My internet's not good. If I'm lucky, I can download games fast. If I'm unlucky, it's a multi-day experience. Ooh, what's our seasonal mission looking like? It's not a boss mission yet, so we'll wait. You know, we'll run another Intel. I'm feeling like it. The thing that probably floors me the most about stepping away from like DVDs and physical copies is the fact that some of this stuff's hard to find. And this is a very obvious thing if you actually look at the costs of it, but streaming services aren't good. Like, how much do you pay for, let's say, any streaming service? Let's go, what, $10-12 a month, give or take. They all vary. They keep trying to jack the prices on ad-free to force you to watch ads so they can double dip in the money. But let's say it's $12 a month. Okay, so $144 a year for a streaming service. If you watch, let's say you watch X-Files, all, what, 9 seasons? I think they have. Let's just say 9 seasons. Okay, so at 9 seasons, you're paying maybe $20 a season. They could probably sell for like 25, maybe 30 a season. Movies, they can sell on the low end like $15 a movie. Usually I've seen them cost more even on like some of the streaming sites where you have to like Amazon stuff where you have to buy individual things. So why wouldn't you want physical copies? From a company standpoint, because you can charge more money per show or per movie than having them all available on a platform where someone, you don't have to pay for a full year. You could sit down over the holiday season, maybe you got a bunch of time off work, maybe you're home from college, whatever. And you're just like, yeah, I'm going to watch every season of X-Files. I'm going to watch every season of Stargate SG-1. Okay, so you sit down and you just binge. So December, maybe into January. Maybe you got J-term. You got January off, you didn't feel like taking a course during the month and have it accelerated. So you take it off, cool. You watched everything you wanted for like 24, 25 bucks. Now you're done. Unless you're really jonesing to watch it again, you don't have to pay for that service again until there's a bunch of stuff you want to watch. So you could take 2, 3, 6 months not paying for it. But I think in that case, companies rely on people forgetting. I think that's why I've started to see services that are like, oh, we make sure that we'll cancel streaming subscriptions and stuff if you're not using them. And my first thought when I saw that for the first time was, wait, people forget what they're spending money on? I don't know how you just, forget you're spending money, but strange times, I guess. But it's one of those things where, from an actual business perspective, it's not that good of an option. And shifting to just streaming feels more like cutting your nose off to spite your face. And considering we're also still seeing streaming services on the collapse, having physical copies might be kind of the play. But what do I know? I just hope people start to kind of wisen up to all this.
Teleport beacon in range.
This run is going fast. But I think it's because the enemy, has, physical resist. So this is just another case of me just molly-whopping these dudes. Fine by me, though. I'm never gonna complain about just steamrolling. The extra suppression, even though it was 150, I feel like it's already kind of paying off. I might have to start kind of looking at doing a bit of a health buff in my builds. It just kind of sucks because, for the Psyker, I can give myself a shield so I don't really need to focus on giving myself a lot of health. But my build also, once again, it balled out of control to the point where I was healing and regenning shield when doing heat damage, and my build was entirely centered around heat damage, so it was kind of self-sustaining.
Teleport beacon in range.
While something like this build, it has no self-sustain, at least not yet. That flamer might be the key, but we'll have to wait and see. This kind of reminds me of, in a weird way, Vampire Survivors. Where you can have a bunch of stuff, but still be struggling, but the second you get one good synergy going, your damage just spikes astronomically, and what you were struggling with just falls away. Alright, what do we got? Nothing noteworthy, okay. Little disappointing, but acceptable in the end. Look at that. 6 slots. That is a beast and a half. But I can't think of... I think you can do 6-slot Psalm codes, or Psalm doctrines, but I don't remember of any that are actually noteworthy. I think 5 is kind of where you fall into the best choices. 6, the ones off the top of my head were not that noteworthy and felt more like detriments. But I mean, you could just slap like a shard in there for some stuff. It would be interesting to get like a implant with like 6 slots and just dump energy shield efficiency. Or... okay, suppression regen, that'd be a waste, but you could do some cool stuff. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.